Listen at 'em.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have been waiting for is here. It is the official Dimers Sports Betting Podcast Super Bowl preview. I'm Greg. That's Dave. In this episode, we will take you through every way to bet the Super Bowl, give you our personal picks, everything the model leans toward, and hopefully help you make some money in the biggest game of the year. Dave, are you as excited as I am for today?
I am very excited. I was almost worried I wouldn't be able to fill out 4 episodes of Super Bowl content, but here we are. We got a whole episode full of it after 3 other previews, so this is going to be a good one, I think. Excited to get to everything we have. Excited to watch it play out on Sunday and hopefully talk about some, at least a very good game on Tuesday, but hopefully at least a win or two that we can guide you guys to as well.
We've got some fun stuff planned. We're going to get creative here. We will give you a full game preview, the latest updates to our models, predictions, player prop projections. We'll take you through some unique promotional ways to bet this game, including the King of the Endzone and the FanDuel touchdown jackpot. We've got our same game parlay to unveil. And at the end, we are even going to do a first on this program, a little Super Bowl fantasy draft. You and I head to head with a prize on the line. Before we get into it all, this entire episode is going to be all Super Bowl. We do want to tell you that you need to get the Dimers app. If you're a Dimers Pro user, you should be in there by now. It's new. Dave, tell them more.
Yeah, it's great. Got all of our bets, all of our props from the site, as well as the DimeBot assistant. So you can ask it questions, try and find some angles beyond just the ones that are at the top of the page. We've got a Super Bowl contest in there as well. So get in there, make your picks. We got a $500 cash prize and 3 months of Dimers Pro up for grabs. 6 questions on the big game, which is actually, my bosses will tell me I'm supposed to refer to it as a big game contest, not Super Bowl contest. So, cut that. The big game contest, if you will. But yeah, really good new tool that we've added to Dimers Pro suite of features is the app. Lots more updates coming as we build it out to be more and more robust for everybody. So make sure you download that. iOS and Android up for grabs now.
It's getting better every single day in the Dimers app, and get Dimers Pro if you haven't too. Get 50% off, promo code podcast, so you can get all of these insights and utilize the app to the fullest. That's a great segue. It's time for our big game preview, Dave. Let's pull up the matchup on screen here. It's Seahawks -4.5. Our total's 45.5. What does the model say?
We've got, let's see, 53.2% to the over, 1.3% edge, best odds -108 on FanDuel, 38.0% of the Patriots to upset the Seahawks. That is 4.1% edge, best odds at +195 on BetMGM, fair at +160. So pretty good value there. Would be a play by our model up to that as well. And then Patriots +4.5. Model has held strong on this for almost 2 full weeks. 60.3% probability, 9.1% edge. Best odds of -105 on DraftKings. So overall, basically no movement over the past 2 weeks since the opening line, which was 3.5, then quickly 4.5. So if you waited, you didn't miss out. You can get the Patriots at the same number, at the same value on the money line or the spread. Seahawks wise, same thing, although models does not have any value as far as betting the Seahawks in that regard. Not always the case. Sometimes we see a lot more movement than this. Could still change between now and Sunday. We'll see if anything major happens. I don't think we'll see any type of injury news or updates like that, but perhaps some obscenely large bets or money comes in on one side and things shore up a little bit. But I will mention that depending on when you are listening to this, you can get the Pats +4.5 for even money on BetMGM. They have it's on the featured page, a boost from -105 to +100. So if you have that, that's the best odds you'll find on the standard line between now and then, without a doubt. So you won't get plus money on it otherwise. So yeah, if you're gonna bet the Pats and you haven't yet, go do it there at BetMGM, where you can get it for even money. Spread wise, my personal thoughts on this game haven't changed at all. I'll save my picks for the end of this preview when we make our own personal leans. But the high probability on the spread 60.3% feels like a really good number. Not seeing that change throughout the 2 weeks makes me feel even better about it. If it were tightening up a bit, maybe we'd think the model was misreading something at first, but it's held completely strong here, even as the odds have shifted a little bit, but the line stayed strong. And we talked about this on, what was it, the first Super Bowl look. We talked about some trends. It is only a trend, which effectively means nothing as far as future results. What Team A did when they were 4-point dogs in Super Bowl 12 or whatever doesn't mean anything for what the Patriots will do as 4.5-point dogs in this game. But a favorite has not covered the pregame spread of 4 or more points since the Colts versus the Bears in Super Bowl 41. This is Super Bowl 60. That's a pretty long time. Only, I think, 4 or 5, or maybe I should have put that in my notes. I had it on Tuesday's episode, the number of teams that were that long of a dog, but it just does go to suggest that teams maybe overlooked a little bit, even though they reached the Super Bowl, being underestimated, even though they're against a theoretically superior opponent. And you got to wonder if that feeds the beast at all. I'm starting to get a little worried. Fortunately, I don't have anything invested in the Seahawks. It is my personal lean, and it's what we've got in our playoff bracket challenge for the Dimers entry. But I'm getting a little worried that all the media, kind of fade on the Patriots is just putting the biggest chip on their shoulder. Maybe they come into this game playing just a little bit harder on every play. Your gut would tell you that does factor in. And it certainly feels like everybody's factoring the Patriots out except for Pat's Nation. So food for thought there, if that kind of intangible factor changes anything. But historically, this number and the Dimers projections on this number very much in favor of the Pats to cover the spread.
Yeah, I think it's all fair points here, and I share many of the same sentiments as you. I still have not been pushed off my belief a week ago that Seattle is the better team. I also keep staring at the points and staring at that sweet spot high edge tag that we have on Patriots money line in the model. Really, truly, the way I've operated for about a year now is anytime you see anything with both a sweet spot and a high edge in the model, you should add it to your card. So I wonder if I'm going to kick myself for this. I think even, betting Patriots pregame feels like it's the wise side to be on here. And then maybe they get out to a 7-0 lead, and you might have some hedge opportunities or even some middle opportunities on the Seahawks. That's definitely something I'm going to play as far as the spread in this game. I'm going to be on Patriots plus 4.5 before kickoff, and kind of hope that they get out to an early start, and maybe I can try a middle with Seahawks money line. But as we get closer to the game, I just really expect this to be a good game. And I'm also looking at that over because I think the Seahawks are going to score. That offense has been humming for so long. It's really, does Drake May keep up? Yes or no? And our model certainly believes so. If he does, we could be in for a better game than people expect.
Yeah, I definitely hear you there. 53.2% probability to the over. I don't like to go against the model. Unfortunately, it's only a 1.3% edge, so I don't feel as guilty saying this. But I can't help but at least shy away from the total. Maybe just not play it at all. But I just don't have enough confidence really in the Patriots offense to put up the points needed to go over. I think their best chance in this game is to keep it low, extend drives, keep Seattle's offense off the field as much as possible. And Seattle, we've seen that offense be a juggernaut this year, but I don't know if against a good defense on a very big stage, it's going to carry to the over on their own. So it's my own personal feel in that regard, but I kind of hope the Patriots get out to like a 10-0 deficit, and you can bet them live. You'll get a much better number. And then they're still in play for the cover anyway. Might give you a little bit better of a chance there. Mentioned this on the Tuesday show as well, but the Patriots only faced one top 10 passing offense this year in the Bills. Josh Allen went off in those 2 games. So they're kind of in uncharted territory here against a player like JSN and an offense with this kind of ceiling. So I don't know if they're going to be able to limit, Seattle's offensive output. Sorry. Chance of an upset at 38%. Models, like I said, makes that fair at plus 160. Certainly in play. Patriots are just the 4th team in 50 years to reach the Super Bowl at the long shot odds that they have, 80-1 preseason. I think we said this in one show that only the 99 Rams converted that opportunity into a title. Never say never. However, history just doesn't really point to a team at that preseason expectation seeing it ultimately come to fruition. But again, trend's just a trend. And even if it only happened once in 50 years, it can always happen a second time. And, the way that the Patriots have gotten here, I don't think anyone should be surprised. I think you can feel good about Seattle, pretty much any part of the line that you're on in that regard. But you just can't be surprised that the Patriots do come out here and keep it close or even upset the apple cart.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, history tells us it's very hard for a pre-Super Bowl favorite of a sizable amount to just waltz to the finish line. It really hasn't played true in a very, very long time. And that's not the only way that New England is trying to disprove history here just a little bit. I love this note. New England, just the fourth team in 50 years to reach the Super Bowl after opening at 80-1 or longer preseason odds. It was only the 1999 Rams who converted that opportunity into a title. So, kind of like you said, Dave, never say never. There's always a time for a first of anything. But I think any sort of historical trend, data, whatever you want to call it, would tell us that this might be more interesting than we think it may be at first glance.
Yep. And that's pretty much our look at the lines, and just say we'll make it official here that the model's best bet in Super Bowl 60 is Patriots plus 4.5, 60.3%, 9.1% edge. Granted, you can get a little value in all three of these markets, but with the probability, the edge, and the odds, that would be the best play from the Dimers model. And like I said, if you're getting that, make sure you get it at the even money on BetMGM if you can, so that you at least get yourself the best odds. Although that is probably a limited time boost, so I don't know how long that'll last. Hopefully, you could still use that information by the time you hear this. Yeah, and then all right, Greg, let's make our own personal little leans here. I'll pull up mine first. Pretty much already alluded to what they are, but I'll make it official here from me. I'm going to go with Seattle money line, Pats plus 4.5 alongside the model, and under 45.5 to go slightly against the model here with 24-20, my projected final score, fitting with our 4-point victory for Seattle, just slightly toning it down to a more accessible, reachable, feasible final score.
I like it. All right. We are very aligned on this because I also believe Seattle will win this game. I also am backing the model's best bet for the Pats to cover. And I like the over, as you mentioned. I think I view this a little more of a high-scoring game. I do think the Pats offense can get out to a good start. And right now, I just don't see how you slow down Seattle. So give me 27-24 as a final score. The over cashes by about a touchdown. But really, the way I am looking to bet this game pregame, it's all Pats against the spread plus 4.5. I am really hoping we get a 7-0 Patriots start and I can jump in on Seattle live and unload. And we'll see. Hopefully you can get a middle. There would be no sweeter way to end this NFL season than by cashing Pats plus 4.5 pregame, Seattle money live, and riding to the finish line.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. I'm going to at least sprinkle on my predictions as a parlay. It was like plus 700 for those three results last I checked. So, see if I can nail the game script perfectly as a little side play for some action in this game. So that's it. Good little segue there. Don't forget to make your picks in the Dimers app for the Super Bowl. Includes some of these very same questions. Like I said, I believe there are 6 of them. All you have to do is download the app, sign in. You'll be prompted right away to make your picks for the game. 6 questions in total. There's a little tiebreaker there to hopefully make sure we avoid any random drawings. But most points correct will win a $500 grand prize and 3 months of Dimers Pro. So please don't forget, make your picks for the big game in the Dimers app.
Yep. Make sure you take advantage. Jump in while you can. It's a really fun thing that Dimers has put together for any of our Dimers Pro users. Okay, we know it's not just pregame spread bets. It's not money line. It's not totals. But one of the most fun parts about Super Bowl week every year is all of the various ways to bet Super Bowl props. So for the sake of covering all angles, let's just take a quick look at our top overall props for the big game. I think pretty much all of these, except for one, have both of those tags that I mentioned when we were looking at the past money line bet, both sweet spot and high value signals. So all of these are going to be on my card. Dave, where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll take a little look. There's not like an overwhelming amount of props on the site, and I will say some of them are very slim probabilities. There's an edge there, but they're at around, they could be sub 50%, 48%, 51%. So they wouldn't be, necessarily considered the top prop options. But there are plenty of ways to use that data. You can sort by market on there. There's a couple touchdown props, which we'll get into. There's some props, if you're bold enough to fade Jackson Smith-Njigba, I believe we have the under on his receptions with a little edge, but I'll say we have a projected like right there at the line. So, it's basically you're waiting if you want the value, the probability, or the projection on your side. So I'll just pull up the ones that, stood out in that regard as far as having both of those signals and just take a quick look at them. I'm not going to say these are official plays, but just, if you're not utilizing this feature of the site, this is the type of stuff that you can find on there. You'll see a couple of them on receptions here, or at least one on receptions, a few on receiving yards. I know at least you have one of these as a personal play, Greg, from I think our first Super Bowl look, maybe the second episode we did. That's the Jake Bobo, which you can bet multiple ways. If one of them didn't have the high value, but it was on site for over 0.5 or 0.5 receptions. So you can get it for 1+ reception or 1+ receiving yard. Basically, it just depends which one you want to take. The odds are a little better for the receiving yards. They're plus 180 here on FanDuel. I believe it was around plus 160, 155 for the reception. Probably safer to take the reception, which is why the odds are a little shorter, because you can't unreceive the ball. You can lose yards. I don't think Jake Bobo's catching a ball behind the line of scrimmage. So you can probably feel pretty comfortable about just taking his receiving yards. And in that regard, maybe even look for him to get 5+, even a little better. He's, again, probably not catching a sub 5-yard pass realistically based on his depth of target. We talked about that in all the games he caught a pass except for one. I believe he had at least 13 yards. So one way to look at that. Those receiving yards props, 7.7% ROI over 452 bets over the season. So not a small sample size whatsoever. The model's pretty good at finding the value on the receiving yards props. We'll look at the one passing prop here. Sam Darnold under 20.5 passing completions, projected for 19.5, 60% probability, minus 125. So pretty good edge there at 4.4%. That is 16.2% ROI over 97 bets. It's the smallest of these sample sizes, but still not small at all. It's also the highest ROI. Darnold's over this in just 7 games, including the playoffs this year. So pretty favorable trend in that regard as well. Rushing attempts is the only one here without high value edge. That's on Rashid Shaheed to get at least 1 carry. We talked about this, I think, in the NFC Championship preview when this came up with an edge as well, and he did cash it. 9.6% ROI over 279 bets this season. So really good stuff there. He's got a carry in both playoff games. And this is the stat that I just love the most when pointing to this. And I'm not surprised to see his odds a lot juicier here now. But 6 games with Seattle in the regular season, he had a carry, only 1 with New Orleans. So they are using him in a way that he just wasn't really deployed with New Orleans, even though it's very minimal. You're talking about 1 rushing attempt here. You don't even need the yard. However, I'd probably consider trying to find him at 5+, 10+ rushing yards. You'll get plus money, or at least close to it for 5+, I'm sure. Minus 165 is pretty juicy for a standalone prop for me.
Yeah.
And then just the last one, receptions, 5.8% ROI over 101 bets this year. You're just going to find Kyle Williams here. Like, see, this is, 50.7% probability, really, pretty much a coin flip, but plus 150, very good 10.7% edge. Not a lot of targets for him, but 1 catch and he gets it. big average depth of target for him this season or this postseason. I believe he is the highest on the Patriots in his very minimal looks. So, high risk, high reward stuff. But yeah, these are the ones on site that cross over with both signals. You see most of them plus money, but a couple really high probability ones too for, lower risk, little less reward.
Yep, all of these are going to be on my card. I had Bobo on the top of the list a week ago. I'm with you. I'm going to just get the best odds you can find, whether it's receptions or yards. Plus 180, incredibly tasty for that for me. I just love with Super Bowl, like you get the kitchen sink with offenses.
Yeah.
You get the gadget plays. You get anything you've been waiting on. You do. There's always high leverage spots where you pull something out that people aren't expecting. And to me, that's where like Shaheed to get one rushing attempt, Bobo to get one reception, even Kyle Williams to get one. These are all kind of prop plays, and I think you see the prop plays in the Super Bowl. So it's fun that the model is finding so many of these, because these are some of my favorite props to bet in a big game like this. But then you also have, the, like you said, the ROI of the completions under with Sam Darnold. That's been a consistent hit all year. So a lot of good stuff here, a lot of different ways you can pull various bets out of this to put together your card. But I have every single one of these 6 on my official Super Bowl prop card. This is probably a good segue into our official Dimers Super Bowl same game parlay. So for one final time, we've got our classic 3-leg Dimers same game parlay here. This one has a boost over at Bet365, and there's some big names in this one, which I love, Dave.
Yeah, this one was fun to put together. I kept the touchdown leg out, which if you followed us during the regular season or have followed Dimers really at all for the last few seasons, we almost always do 2 prop legs and then a touchdown for the third leg. Figured we'd have enough touchdown equity involved elsewhere, so we don't want to have our parlay hinge on what it could be the hardest thing to pull off in the Super Bowl, which is find the end zone. So we've just got 3 lines on 3 guys projected very well by the Dimers model. And we'll start off with Kenneth Walker, 70-plus rushing yards. Basically, our model's strongest projection for a player in this game when compared to his line, projected for 79.3 rushing yards. He's blown past this mark in 3 of his last 5 games with 90 and over 100 yards twice, one of those in the playoffs. Might see his biggest workload of the season here on the biggest stage. 19 carries in both playoff games. That matched his season high from way back in week 4. All obviously as a result of Charbonnet being out and him being the absolute workhorse. Patriots rush defense is great. We discussed this on Tuesday's show when we looked at the matchup pretty deeply. But the upside for Walker is there with the volume. And if Seattle gets up early, which, more or less seems like the prediction our model has, they'll be even more run heavy than they already are. Even in trailing situations this year, they were one of the more run heavy offenses in negative game scripts. So most important game of Ken Walker's career. He'll be a free agent after this. Let's ride with the model's projection. Take him about 10 yards just under that. Leg 2, Hunter Henry, another matchup that we talked about being perhaps the way for the Patriots to exploit the Seahawks defense. Both of these legs, by the way, are going to be on the Patriots for the next 2. But the biggest weakness for Seattle this year was against tight ends. They allowed the 5th most yards per game on more than 8 targets. Henry's the Patriots' 2nd leading pass catcher this season. And unlike Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, Mac Hollins, he isn't nearly as reliant on deeper, high-risk, high-reward passes. A lot more work in the middle of the field. While Seattle did limit tight end scoring, 0.4 TDs per game, they were a lot more vulnerable in between the 20s. May's going to need a safety net in this game. Who better than our 3rd highest projected receiving option in the entire game? 42.8 receiving yards, 3.5 receptions. He's over this. It's 6 of his last 10, including the postseason. Ride with Hunter Henry for our 2nd leg. And for our 3rd one, sticking with the Pats, Ramondre Stevenson for 20-plus receiving yards. Look, safety nets might be the only thing the Patriots get going for him if Seattle's defense shuts them down deep. This is another great one for him. Ramondre's hit this in 5 straight to close the regular season, opened the playoffs with 75 receiving yards, went under in his last 2 playoff games, but he did have 4 targets in the Texans game, caught all 4, just didn't make a big play, dropped an open screen pass against Denver that looked like one he was going to get a chunk play on, kind of changed the game script too in that. Seattle allowed both Kyron and Blake Corum to hit this in the NFC Championship. I think about 52 combined receiving yards for those two. They allowed the 6th most RB receiving yards in the regular season, 7.5 targets to the position per game. We've got Ramondre projected for 27.0 receiving yards, clearing this with a little bit of a buffer. And there you go, our 3 legs for Super Bowl 60. You can get this with a little boost from plus 480 to plus 600 at Bet365. Got almost 200 people right here riding this one with us as of before the show when I grabbed the screenshot. Hopefully we got a few more than that now, and hopefully we'll cash this out and do one little last big hit to the books.
6-1 with the boost. You got to love it. Hopefully we can get that. Yeah. Up above 200, hopefully like 300-400 people by kickoff. I think we can do it. All right.
No
thank you, Dave. Let's root for that one together for a group win. Let's move to touchdowns next. We've got probabilities for every single player that will take the field in this game to find the end zone. That's one of the beautiful things about Dimers Pro. But let's dive in and take a look at some of the most likely touchdown scorers that the model projects.
Yeah, I figured we'd just take a look at the top 5 here. I'll put this back up on screen for those of you watching at home. I figure we'll just take a look at the top 5, talk about their odds, a couple little quick matchup looks, and then we'll dig into value, promo stuff, and whatnot. But top 5 probabilities: Kenneth Walker, 54%, leading the way. Fair at minus 117. Good luck finding him any better than minus 190. One of the worst bets you can make in this entire game from a value perspective is Ken Walker anytime touchdown. And I hate to say that because he's got a good chance to find the end zone. Like right here, the model's telling you 54%, the only guy over 50. He's going to get the most touches out of any player in this entire game. Seattle will probably win the game, but he is minus 190, almost minus 200. He wasn't even that in the games immediately following Charbonnet's injury when he was like, all right, they're not even going to give the ball to anybody else. So it's really tough. He's got 4 touchdowns in 2 playoff games. He's a huge part of the offense, though. Yeah, good chance he finds the end zone, but I just think you got to find a better way to bet on him. First team touchdown score, that's plus 190. First half TD score, that's plus 140, plus 145. And if he doesn't score in the first half, you're probably getting him plus money live in the second half. So, unless you're going to be on the outside looking in, disappointed you didn't get minus 190 on Kenneth Walker to score a touchdown, I think you either bet him to score in the first half or you bet him live if Seattle goes down, or at least he doesn't score on the first couple of drives. But I don't even know if he gets the plus money unless Seattle's down in the second half, maybe even late in the third, So, unless he's just been bottled up all game or something and they can't get anything going. So, next up, almost the same here. So we'll go with JSN at 46%. Fair at plus 117. Looks to be around minus 110 most places. I think I saw minus 105 on Bet365. I cannot say that sportsbook name. So no value, but not horribly far off at least, So you're not getting nearly as taxed on him as you are on Kenneth Walker, for example. He was completely unneeded versus the 49ers. He was a machine versus the Rams. He still scored in both games in the playoffs. Didn't really matter what his role was. You'd like the plus money. But if you're going to bet one of the Seattle stars straight up, he's certainly more favorable at this price compared to Kenneth Walker at his. Ramondre Stevenson, 46%, also fair at plus 117. You can find him for plus 150 on Bet365. This is the best TD bet you can make in the game, according to the Dimers model, based on value, unlike Kenneth Walker. Scoreless in the playoffs, though. Only 1 rushing touchdown for the Pats in all 3 postseason games. It was Drake May. 9 touchdowns in the regular season, though, behind only Trevion Henderson. Gets an edge for 2+ as well. If the Patriots can move the ball pretty well, this is not a bad look. Seattle did allow 2 red zone scores to the Rams last week, but they were one of the better teams in the red zone during the regular season. Just a 50% conversion rate. So great value on Ramondre. If they're down in the the dirty zone, they're probably going to get that. Give it to him. He's got a really good chance, but Not really the best playoff run for the Pats running backs, particularly. Next up, Hunter Henry, 28%, fair at around plus 250, plus 260. Can get him at plus 235, best odds I saw. That's not bad at all, in my opinion. Obviously, not technically value, but when you're getting I wouldn't call him a long shot, but closer to 3-1, and you're still getting him at plus 250. That's pretty good. You can see the drop off though from the studs to Hunter Henry, almost a 20% discrepancy from Henry and our third most likely touchdown scorer. So it looks like it's going to be anybody's game pretty much outside the top guys. He scored in the Pats' first playoff game, 7 touchdowns in the regular season, was a top option for them. Mentioned that earlier. Talked about the Seattle's weakness at tight ends earlier. Caveat was that they are pretty good at limiting scores, but not so much as containing them from a yards perspective. I'll just say that we'll have a little bit more on Hunter Henry regarding touchdowns in a bit. Next up is AJ Barner, rounds out the top 5. Fair at plus 270. Best price was plus 250 or so, bet 365. So again, not too far off from his value play. Scored 6 touchdowns in the regular season, but only 3 targets in the playoffs. Not sure if there's enough there to really interest me. And I just, it's just kind of funny. We're talking the top 5 guys, and we got to Hunter Henry and AJ Barner before Stephon Diggs and even Rashid Shaheed. So it's real toss up. I think you should have fun. You should try to bet somebody in the outside that 30% range, like the Hunter Henrys, Stephon Diggs, Rashid Shaheed type of guys. But there's not a lot of value to be found there. In these top 5, you can get a couple close to fair, but Ramondre is the best value bet. As mentioned, edge for 1+, 2+. Let me just check real quick, see if that is still up here. I doubt it would have changed very much. Yeah, 2+ TDs, 12.6%, plus 1,100, 12.6%. That should be about, I think, plus 700 or so. So pretty good edge there, 4.2%. And yeah, his anytime right around plus 150. So you get about a 4.9% edge, depending exactly what you get him at. But yeah, if you're looking for a value bet, it's Ramondre. And then just real quick, very, very small values. Drake May plus 300 on bet 365, 26%. 25.5%. So fair at plus 285, very slim edge. Trevion Henderson, he was like the big early value. He was plus 550. He's mostly settled in now around fair at plus 445 or so. But if you could find him at that odds, like it is a pretty solid price. Like for a guy who is part of a backfield split, he's been completely phased out of the offense in the playoffs. I know. But he was their leading touchdown scorer in the regular season.
He's a monster all season long. I'm doing a double take at anything from 440 up for him. Like, just imagine getting that at week 10,
Right. Like, I get it. But I mean, if you were sitting here and tell me, the standout rookie for the Patriots, who was their leading touchdown scorer, is plus 500 or so, so probably something I'll have a little half a unit on or so, maybe even bet him in the first half or something, try to just really turn it into a long shot for potentially a better spot. But yeah, there you go. Overall top 5 touchdowns and value play.
The Ramondre stuff is really interesting to me, and I got to be honest, I have not historically been a huge Ramondre Stevenson backer. I think in this playoff run, it's been obvious that we have needed to turn toward him as bettors because that's what New England is doing. But I think it's interesting just in terms of interpreting what the model gives us and where it finds value. I feel like it's not all that often that you see sizable touchdown value for a guy that is one of the top 2 player touchdown likelihoods in a game, or his team's most likely touchdown scorer. Like, that just feels strange to me in general, and maybe I'm misinterpreting that, but I it's kind of a unique situation here where it's been a split. It's been Henderson at points. May's the only guy in the playoffs that's done it. I just think like where the odds have sort of fallen to, it has to be the Pats backfield that we look at to find the value here, whether you do talk yourself into Henderson, whether you do take Drake May to scramble for one of his own, or whether you just play the highest likelihood that our model sees, which is Stevenson. But as you were sorting through the page that just sort of shows everybody's probabilities and best bets with high edge here, I found it interesting that both Henderson and May's rush attempts unders show a significant edge. And then you look up and Stevenson's almost at a 50% touchdown probability. It's like the model is screaming at us that Stevenson is going to have a big game here. And again, this is not a guy I historically back, but it's a guy I'm going to have to back because the model is telling me enough to do it. I think I've seen enough to add it, Dave. I really have.
Yeah, I do like him in this game. I'm definitely going to play some of his receiving yard stuff. You know me, first quarter, probably try to get him 5, 10, 15 plus. Maybe see if he doesn't do that early, get him live in the game for better value at like 20 plus 25. But, right in line with why I think he could score a touchdown. He's a sneaky guy. He can be pretty elusive. He's broken some absolutely monster plays this season. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the model's value pay off here. It did in the AFC Championship with our lone touchdown value on Cortland Sutton. And that was a much harder scenario for him.
Yep. All right. So let's pivot to the two, I guess, I don't know what you want to call them, the two promotional bet prompts that we got with two of the industry leaders here. We'll start with King of the End Zone. You've heard us go through King of the End Zone multiple times this year, but basically they're giving out a monster $4 million jackpot for King of the End Zone for the Super Bowl. So typically when we try to survey the landscape for King of the End Zone, you want to look for players that have big play potential, maybe 30 yards or more. Otherwise, it's really just anybody's guess what's going to happen. So there are quite a few of those when you kind of survey the options for this game. I feel like both sides have a few guys with some pretty serious long touchdown histories this year. So where do we start with King of the End Zone targets, Dave?
Yeah, well, we'll look at the guy who's obviously the clear leader in this, which no surprise, I'm sure he'll be the most bet guy. $4 million jackpot, though, might not be the worst idea. Obviously, this is like the most bet event of the year. So, that $4 million is going to get dispersed pretty quickly. But, you could do worse than still back in JSN on this. 12 plays of 30 plus yards, 8 of 40 plus, 4 of 50 plus this year. As mentioned, these are top 2 probability touchdown scorer in this game. Ken Walker, 3 plays of 30 plus, 2 plays of 40 plus, 1 50 plus reception earlier this season. Not a lot of big play potential there, though. AJ Barner, single play over 30 yards, a 61-yard catch back in week 6. Rashid Shaheed, 2 plays over 30 plus, 1 over 40 and 50 plus. That is as a member of the Seahawks. I did not include his Saints stats there, a handful more. But he's a big play guy. He gets the added bonus of kick returns. You bet on him and he scores on the kick return, you also get him there. Also, that means everybody who bets on Seattle defense, special teams, will split that pot too. So it's going to be a split pot on Shaheed. Probably will result in him actually being like this, especially if Seattle's defense, if it comes via kick return, he might be the smallest bonus bet because it's going to be a chop pot. But we have seen the defenses come through in this more than once in the latter half of the season when they were doing this promo. And then on the Patriots side, Diggs has 7 plays of 30 plus, none at 40 or longer. Demario Douglas, 4 plays, 30 plus, 3 at 40, 2 over 50. Kayshon Boutte, 5 plays over 30 plus, one of those 40. 2 of them two of his longest catches this season were in the playoffs, 1 in each game. Hunter Henry, 2 plays of 30 plus all season. He's not a guy I think is going to score the longest touchdown of the game unless it happens to be a shorter touchdown. Then looking at the RBs, Trevion Henderson, 4 plays each, 30, 40, and 50 plus. 2 of those are over 60. Those huge runs he broke that we were talking about. But again, totally phased out of the game. Obviously has the ability to break a big play, though. I mean, it could be a pitch and catch, and he's gone in this. Ramondre, 5 plays over 30, 2 over 40, 1 over 50 this season. So not a ton of like absolutely nuclear options in this, as we've seen in some games. And you got to pick somebody who you just think has the ceiling to catch a big pass, basically, or break a big run. Pick sixes, obviously very dangerous in that regard, as well as kick returns. Not a lot of methodical science to picking this guy. I think you just take somebody who has that big play potential. Personally, I like Shaheed or Kayshon Boutte. Big A dot for Kayshon, almost 17 yards depth of target this season. Rashid Shaheed is the biggest in the playoffs. It was like over 24 yards. I think we mentioned that on the first Super Bowl look when I was talking about his receiving ladder. So I would go that way. I just don't like to go the favorite. You could, like I said, you could do worse than JSN. I think in some scenarios, he's obviously got the most big play potential out of anybody. But I just can't help but go with my longer shot guys. So Shaheed or Kayshon Boutte for me.
That's the way I'm wired too. And with Shaheed, my fear is, like you said, he may not end up the longest shot guy because I think he is kind of the loudest, obvious, big play only type, boom or bust, home run swing type. And as you mentioned, split pot with anybody that goes Seattle defense. I think I'm going to talk myself into taking the Pats defense here and hope for something random. Hope for Darnold to hear some voices like years ago. And, yeah, I just think other than JSN, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves as you went through these guys. I like the Boutte shout. He's obviously got a history here, but most of the primary targets in this game are not explosive play guys. I mean, you're either going to split a huge split pot with JSN or split a huge split pot with Shaheed, or Boutte is probably the smart play if you want a real big play guy that's not going to be, an enormous split pot. I'm going to try and just thread the needle. I'm going to try with Pat's defense. I don't think it's all that likely, but I think that's a fun way to go about this.
Yeah, I like that. I will strongly suggest that someone else in my household plays that promo while I'll play Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would never suggest manipulating a sportsbook promo in my life. However, I would strongly suggest that perhaps somebody else who resides at my residence plays a different play than me.
Extremely easy. All right. How about the FanDuel touchdown jackpot next? Another really fun one here. The whole goal is get someone who scores either the first or the last touchdown in a game and end up with some bonus bets. How are they splitting up this week's $6 billion one? Is it the same as they did it for the regular season?
Yeah, 3 million each for first or last. Obviously, if the same guy scores, and it all splits between that guy. If the very strange or unlikely result that someone who is not listed scores first or last, it just defaults to the second touchdown or the second to last touchdown scorer. But I genuinely miss doing this on the Thursday show. These were so fun during the regular season, and I think they took it away with still a couple weeks left to go, so we didn't even get 18 weeks out of it. It was really fun to close the Thursday night football preview with these. We nailed it twice in the regular season. Mari DiMercato and Sean Tucker, deep cuts, returning around 250 in bonus bets each. So it was really fun to do this. It's not totally random. First or last touchdown is about as random as you can get. First, you can kind of put, I guess, a little of the methodical research into it. We have probabilities for that. If you want to just go with the straight up top 5, most likely, that doesn't change from the top 5 anytime TDs. JSN's slightly ahead of Ramondre there, where they were even in anytime. AJ Barner actually jumps Hunter Henry as the 4th most likely instead of 5th most likely, but overall the same 5 guys right there. So nothing really additional to break down. If I'm picking a player from the top 5, it's Hunter Henry. That was what I mentioned earlier. Casual bettors, I think, will be playing Ken Walker, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Ramondre, maybe Stephon Diggs because of his name, Cooper Kupp maybe just because of the name recognition. Henry is not under the radar, but I do think he's got to be the 5th most popular pick here, at least in theory. If Pats are trailing, as the general prediction suggests, they'll be passing later in the game. Good chance for Henry to get the last touchdown. While it may be just 5.5% for him to get the first, It's top 5 from our model. So signals solid upside for me. Without getting too deep into the weeds, he's a guy I think if the Pats are trailing, he'll be a featured point of the game. And he should be a featured point of the game in neutral game script as well. So yeah, top 5 probability. That's who I'd probably go with. And I love the matchup.
I like the shout for Henry. I'm going to take a different Pat right in that range. I think it's Drake May for me. I think there's various ways to see it. We talked about the matchup specifically here too. Seattle doesn't necessarily send a ton of pressure, but they get a ton of pressure on quarterbacks. They haven't gotten to actual takedowns in this playoff run. I do think this is going to be a game where Drake May has to improvise a ton, and whether that goes well or poorly for New England, I don't know. But I think it's going to happen early and often. And even if they're playing from behind, like we said, there's going to be ample opportunities for that too. So I'm on May, you're on Henry. I think both of those are in the same range and kind of mapped together as the way to tackle the FanDuel first last touchdown jackpot. You've also got your Dimers backed touchdown parlay for us here, Dave. What is it?
Yeah, I just had to do a little something using this data. Not getting too cute, going with our top edge, Ramondre and Ken Walker, who is our top probability, but I am going to play him first half touchdown to get him at plus money at a much more favorable price than minus 190. I cannot do it. I cannot put someone minus 190 in my Super Bowl parlay. Plus 490 for this little 2-legger on DraftKings. Maybe I'll even play it both of them first half. I don't know. We'll see. It's probably not that much better, honestly, where it's worth it. So yeah, Ramondre Stevenson, our top edge, Ken Walker, our top probability, just taking them to get it a little earlier than most, I guess.
It's a smart way to go about it. You are one of the best early sequence bettors that I've ever encountered. You found a ton of value with stuff like this year.
I just think, it's not rocket science. It's just if you like a guy in their matchup, they're probably going to be utilized earlier. That team knows about the matchup. If they're incorporating them into the game plan, what better time than early? Usually if you're getting burned, it's because of a 3 and out or a team extends a very long first quarter drive. But, the plus money floor for guys to get sometimes just 5-10 yards in the first quarter when you love the matchup is just very good, very enticing to me.
Yep. Undoubtedly. Okay. I like it. Thank you for all of the work that went into sharing these Super Bowl projections for us. I feel like we've thrown a lot of ideas out. We finalized quite a few of our own best bets up till now, and hopefully our loyal listeners are about as prepared as they could ever be to win some money on Super Bowl Sunday. Next, we're going to do something new, something fun. This has never been done before on this program. We are going to do a fantasy draft, Super Bowl fantasy draft. This will work exactly how all NFL fantasy drafts that you've ever done work. We will take turns making picks to build the highest scoring Super Bowl roster. We'll base this off of traditional fantasy PPR scoring. So point per reception is in play here. And we'll do 5 rounds. We'll do 2 wide receivers, a running back, a quarterback, and a tight end. You have the stakes determined for this. What are our stakes?
Yeah, we're going to have fun. Since this is the ultimate culmination of the futures of the NFL, we are going to put up a $5 futures bet of the winner's choosing. So if Greg wins, I'll make a $5 play on any futures bet he wants. Anyone. Hopefully it'll be one of those sweet Dimers Stanley Cup value plays. That's what mine will be for sure when I win this. So
Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl 2027. That'll be where mine's going.
Yeah,
all right.
I will make you put that on.
It's up to you, my friend. Do you want the first or the second pick here? And are we going snake style or are we alternating?
I think we can just alternate for the sake of it being a 2-man draft here. We'll just alternate. I'll let you go first, gentleman's pick.
So kind of you. Incredibly kind of you. Gosh, I'm torn here. This might be the it's our highest touchdown probability. I'm taking Kenneth Walker. I think the 2 Seahawks were the obvious plays. Choose between JSN or Ken. And I just think there's a chance that Christian Gonzalez has a great game, forces Darnold to look to the secondary targets. I think there's no doubt what's going to happen with Ken Walker. He's going to get the ball early and often. Give me Kenneth.
There you go. Third highest PPR projection here, 18.6 points. So not bad. Well, if you're going to go with Ken Walker, I basically have no choice But to go with the other stud, JSN, look, almost 100 projected receiving yards. He's going to be an absolute monster. Top 3 MVP candidate here. 45.8% touchdown. Give me JSN to hopefully float my team.
Okay, so outside of star receiver 1, I actually think there are quite a few receivers here that I don't mind ending up with. So I'm going to get a little cute and kind of go to the other positions where I do think there's one specific player I want in the matchup. I am going to go with Hunter Henry at tight end for all the reasons you laid out here. I think he's just likely to be leaned on really for the entirety of the game, the safety valve for Drake May and a team that should be throwing from behind all game.
I'm mad at you. I was hoping to steal Hunter Henry in the 3rd or 4th round of this here. All right. Well, then I'm going to go with who I feel like is the only other obvious pick for me here. I'm going to complete this stack and go Sam Darnold, get my QB. Hopefully he's passing heavy. And if this is not a run-heavy game, this works in my favor because you have Ken Walker. The JSN Darnold stack should do wonders for me here.
You know, at this point, we're basically going to go with competing stacks. And I think because you've gone Darnold, that means I, by default, am going to end up with May. So let me just take May's top target off the board. Give me Stephon Diggs.
Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to do that. I guess you kind of did lock in the fact that you can get Drake May here.
Yeah, I'm kind of maneuvering, like this is like behind the scenes in the boardroom right now. Did I expect to end up with Drake May and both of his top targets? No, but here we are. This is basically going to be which passing offense has a better game.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was hoping I'd get myself some Diggs, but that's okay. This is a pretty easy pivot for me here. Because I need to fill out this position, and then I don't have to go all in on the Seahawks. Give me Ramondre Stevenson here, our best touchdown value. I love his receiving. He's a guy who's going to be involved all game long. If they're in deep third long situations, he's going to get some dump offs. I really like it. Plus, with PPR, I could see him climb that points ladder pretty quickly here. Top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guy projected points. Give me the Ramondre.
You know, I am so torn on which secondary Seahawks receiver I want. I think Shaheed is the more fun one for all the reasons we've discussed. But in terms of trying to win this head-to-head, I'm going to blindly follow the model here and take Cooper Kupp.
I like it. Kind of had a feeling you might go that way. That means Rashid Shaheed may go undrafted here because I feel like I have to get at least one Patriots pass catcher in here, and I'm going to have to go with A.J. Barner for my tight end. So, I think I am going to stick with an angle that I just talked about because of the upside for king of the end zone. And give me Kayshon Boutte here. Big play guy. Hopefully he gets a deep one. Basically getting the Rashid Shaheed deep play role here without having to invest all the way into Seattle. However, if it was a Seattle passing game domination, I'd be pretty good by getting Barner, Shaheed, and JSN. But for the sake of variety and not getting all my eggs in one basket, give me Kayshon Boutte, 22% touchdown probability, only 2.4 receptions. So I'm not getting a huge PPR boost, but hopefully he can get a couple extra ones and give me a little extra points there.
Yeah, I think it's funny how we kind of map this out in equal but opposite ways. Like we're both making sure we get the one pass catcher from the opposite team and hope he snipes a touchdown. That means by default, I'm with Drake May at quarterback. I honestly may have taken Drake May over Sam Darnold here, but because you got JSN, it definitely made sense to do the stack. So I'll be happy with this. May, Walker, Diggs, Kupp, Henry. I think I got a shot here.
Yep, there you go. And by default, that leaves me with A.J. Barner. Hey, another guy, top 5 touchdown probability here. Maybe he does get one of those once a year 61-yard receptions that he is now super famous for, obviously. So hopefully JSN, Darnold, A.J. Barner, little stack there. And then Ramondre Stevenson, Kayshon Boutte, give me some work. I don't know. I was kind of hoping maybe I'd get Travion Henderson involved if for somehow it fell into the mix, but unlikely given that we only had one running back to pick. Two would have been unfair, as someone's then getting George Holani, and that
We
just
could,
didn't seem right.
if you want, I'm open to this. We could impromptu add the flex to get Shaheed and Henderson in here. You can pick which one you want.
Nah, let's stick with our original parameters. It'll fit better on a graphic when I make this social and see who has the better roster anyway.
A man of integrity, Dave. I appreciate it. All right, that'll be fun. Good luck to you. I look forward to 3 touchdowns from JSN to just guarantee that I'm locking in your $5 future bet. Hey, we got another champ of the week to highlight here. It's Mr. Have Faith, a longtime Dimers Discord member since the early days, and he hit an enormous 55-1 NBA Lotto parlay last night. What else can you tell us, Dave?
Yeah, pretty nice. Yeah, guy's been in the Discord forever. One of our early users. Definitely changed his name a few times. I won't say what it was. His original one was very inappropriate, and I would not be able to say it on this program, as kids perhaps could be listening. But he shared this NBA Lotto last night. A couple of voided legs, but still cashed at plus 55.70. At least a couple of our users tailed. Shared the winning slips this morning for a nice community win. Again, we love to just showcase our users putting the data to work, sharing with everyone. Small stakes, big payouts. No one's trying to, radically change sports betting, just trying to have fun and feed the community where possible. And it's been some really good stuff in that Discord over the past several weeks.
Yep. Constant positive vibes in there, I would say, in the last couple of weeks. That's easy to say when there's been a lot of winning going on in there. Sound like Charlie Sheen right now. I'm like, winning. That's what we're doing in Super Bowl week. Okay. Yes, it is Super Bowl week. Hopefully this gave you your full fill of all things Super Bowl. We've got plenty more Super Bowl content coming up on the site. But the beauty of Dimers, Dave, we're covering every sport at all times, finding the value for you. So what else is on Dimers for the rest of the week?
As much Super Bowl content as we possibly can stuff into our last couple days will be up there. I'll probably look at a few, any angle stone we haven't uncovered in this podcast. I'll be looking for something. I'll write up an article about it, or I'll at least make a little thread on social. So keep your eyes out for that between now and Sunday. Golf model updating all week long. Of course, keep an eye out for live value. That's how we found Justin Rose last week. I'll just say real quick that 2 of my golfers to watch, Pearson Coody and Jake Knapp, T3 and T6 after the first round. So off to a good start here. Ben Griffin, not so much. Where is he right now? No, did he fall even further? My God, not Ben. No. I'm scrolling down. I can't see him. Hopefully, I just overlooked him. He's not too far out there. Hopefully, he's lost in the even guys right there. But, I don't know. Ben Griffin should bounce back. Tough day for Scotty so far. I will say that.
Crazy.
Couple bogeys and a double out there. Saw some rare frustration from him, actually. So, might be the tournament to get Scotty live. I'm sure our model will have something on him. So, take a look. Take a look at that on site after today's round wraps up. And you already know daily sports, NBA, NHL, college hoops, all that stuff. Tennis, Premier League this weekend. Everything's up there. So dimers.com, get the app, download it, make your big game picks, get your next best bet. Subscribe to Dimers on YouTube. We got it all for you guys.
Yeah, and we've tried our best to put as much content in front of you as we can, promoting all the great ways to use Dimers Pro. If you have been a fan of this show or any of even the clips you've seen on social media from this program, do us a favor, show us some love, give us a like, give us a subscribe, whether it's YouTube, whether it's wherever you get your podcasts. Every little bit helps. And selfish plug, great college basketball slate this weekend. Duke, North Carolina, Illinois, Michigan State, tons of top 10 matchups. So make sure you check that out. If you're a college hoops bettor like me, there will be plenty for you on the site. Dave, thank you for all your help as always. Good luck to everybody betting the Super Bowl this weekend. And I think there will be maybe some formatting changes to this show coming soon. Stay tuned. Do you want to give anybody a heads up to that briefly, Dave, or just maybe surprise soon?
I probably should have mentioned it, but we're just going to change up a little bit. We'll probably be going to like a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule, a few shorter episodes, a lot more daily looks rather than long form stuff with NFL in the rear view. But we'll have plenty of golf, plenty of hockey, plenty of basketball, baseball soon, March Madness soon. We can't wait. So there's going to be plenty for us to go through. You'll just find us at a slightly different time, but the same Dimers channel.
So if you had a pit in your stomach thinking this is going away after the Super Bowl, think again, ladies and gentlemen. All right, good luck. Hopefully we all cash our bets, and we will see you again next week.